could have thought that a year ago we would all be wearing masks?
Or work from home. I still tried at least my upper half of the body this year look respectable, you know? The lower half might still be sweatpants, but...
I'm profoundly grateful for the years that God has let me be part of this exciting team, an excellent team in Fellowship International. And I'm very confident that the things that we put in place and started, God is going to continue to bless and bring great fruitfulness to those who are laboring in our fields around the world. Thank you for prayerfully standing with us. I want to say thank you for sending us excellent candidates and then putting your prayer and your financial resources behind them. From the bottom of my heart, I want to express my deep gratitude to all of you. The highlight of my time in Fellowship International, of course, has been people. It's been the excellent staff we have on our fields around the world. And it's been my pleasure to work with so many different churches and leaders as you've asked about how to expand God's kingdom around the world. Our missionaries are dedicated to that very same pursuit. They want to see God's kingdom come. A few years back, I led our department to face the reality that we needed a new model of gospel work if we were going to maximize our impact and saturate communities with the gospel, making a difference in the lives of not just a few, but of thousands of individuals. We needed a new strategy, one that was scalable, one that we could take from one place and use in another, not in terms of tactics and not ignoring the issues of culture, but one that would allow us to scale that was principle-based.
People don't realize that we are losing ground in our mission efforts worldwide. For example, in 1900, approximately 1/3 of the world's population aligned themselves in one fashion or another with the Christian faith. Today, that percentage, while it is the same, our population has gone up incredibly. In 1900, approximately 1.7 billion people. Today, we're 7.7 billion people. Success in our mission mandate requires new means, new methods in reaching those who are still unreached with the gospel.
In time, we were led to the disciple-making movement principles. And on the basis of that, we had a large summit gathering as you might remember, in 2018 in Poland.
So some of the principles that we focus on with disciple making is finding a person of peace, somebody in your community, dependency on God, which is a huge thing, the obedience factor with just being dependent on God, and of course, another major one is extraordinary prayer.
All right, so what happened last year?
A lot.
We planned a second DMM focus gathering in Indonesia with our mission family from around the world, so that together we could pray, discuss, discern God's leading, and then make plans to make it happen.
Our summit in Poland served to launch the vision of disciple making. And the summit that we were going to do in 2020 was going to be how do we implement that vision?
Then what happened?
Then COVID.
COVID-19.
A global pandemic.
Well then, of course, COVID hit. Like so many of you can relate, we had so much positive momentum coming out of the end of 2019 and early 2020. We were so excited. Things were really starting to click.
Our disciple-making conference in Indonesia was the first casualty once COVID hit. We canceled it and thought training would be at a standstill for the rest of the year.
Since we couldn't travel, we couldn't fly anywhere, we had to pivot immediately to online training. So we were using Zoom for all kinds of things, but especially online training and connecting with our missionaries weekly for prayer meetings.
And then God showed up.
God did the unexpected.
Along with a number of our missionaries, Brenda and I attended the online training on disciple-making movements that was run by the founder of the Discovery app. This training reinforced the necessity to depend on God, one of the key principles of DMM.
So then Dave and Mark Naylor got in touch with a missionary in Asia who was part of starting a disciple-making movement that spread through 7 different countries, 300,000 plus disciples over a 20-year period, with most of the growth happening more recently. We now had the opportunity to learn from an experienced DMM practitioner that had a passion to help others learn from their successes and mistakes.
In August of this last year, we heard from Diego Cardona that he had initiated disciple-making movement strategy and principles among a number of his leaders. And here are the results. 80 leaders were trained, 100 groups were started, and there are over 500 participants. And here's maybe the great news, is over 25% of those 500 plus people are not yet followers of Jesus Christ. So it's making a huge impact.
Mike and Elizabeth Vandergag have been in Lebanon since the fall of 2019. They are the ones who first connected with the Discover app people and received their training. In a very short period of time, they had started 5 groups, with 2 of the participants starting second-generation Discovery groups. The groups already started are reaching out to the Maronite community and to some followers of Islam through a Muslim background follower of Jesus.
Amazing to think in a time with so many limitations that training, communication, and just the general camaraderie with our team and our missionaries around the world actually scaled up. Like, thinking about this, only God could have done that.
Now, just to be clear and candid with you, our fields faced way more than COVID-19 this last year.
Lebanon, they suffered crisis after crisis.
More than 1 million refugees were camped throughout the country.
Systematic corruption, economic meltdown, and then right in the heart of Beirut, a huge explosion happens.
There was a populist uprising in Chile, bringing protests, curfews, lockdowns, which were only alleviated by the COVID lockdowns.
Honduras, a forest fire near Casa Hogar, stopping right on their doorstep.
In Pakistan, there was another round of floods, which added to the economic and political challenges.
Friends, it's been incredible to see God at work through all of this turmoil, to see Him opening doors, doing things for us that we hadn't anticipated and expected, doing work to which we are all called, and yet watching God go ahead of us and in actual fact are joining Him as He leads the way.
Again, amazing in a time when we didn't think that we would be getting many recruits or many new candidates. God kept bringing us people like week after week and month after month to look at what midterm and long-term missions could look like with Fellowship International.
Missionaries continued to be appointed with 6 units in this last year alone. And we have more candidates in the line being processed and talking to us about serving in full-time career opportunities.
Our fellowship family continued to be generous.
And as you could imagine, there was a learning curve because of COVID for our missionaries to undertake.
With a disruption to their regular work rhythms, missionaries were able to focus on specific areas of ministry, finding creative ways to connect with those around them.
It was so exciting to see that with our missionaries, how quickly they adapted, and in many cases, their ministry went deeper and deeper.
Masks were made in Spain, food hampers with Kareem in Beirut, Discovery Bible studies started in Colombia, Spain, Lebanon, Mexico, and China, online DMM coaching in the Congo and in Western Africa, and connecting with nationals through social media.
Fellowship International has a long history of partnering with different organizations for many reasons in the field around the world as well as across Canada. And as it relates to communication and recruitment, we've been able to go deeper this past year with Power to Change students, with on-site athletics, and even a partnership that combines Tyndale, Fellowship International, and Power to Change on a media curriculum that helps young people transition from high school to university.
Every Wednesday for 2 hours by Zoom, I have been coaching 4 individuals in disciple-making movements, 3 in the Congo and 1 in Western Africa. These gifted servants of God are beginning to spread this training through their networks into unreached areas of Africa. It's amazing what can be done in partnership with others.
Oh, and don't forget Ethiopia, where Terry Wiley, who used to work in Pakistan, is coaching national leaders to fulfill their mission in a denomination of 10,000 churches and 10 million believers.
We have missionaries ready to go to their fields.
The Millers are now ready for Pakistan when it reopens for visas. And Adam Pietrantonio went to Japan for a year and now is back again partner raising.
Jerusha in Colombia has just told us that she senses God's call to career in missions, and Dr. Jeff Cheeson and his family headed to Madagascar to train surgeons. And then on top of that, there's probably another 10 or so missionaries that are pre-deployment. We would really appreciate you to be continuing to pray for the Van der Merways, the Miragis, Adam Pincherantonio, the Rokabis, and the Teesons as they're in the partner raising process. We really need your prayer.
You can join us by praying. Join a missionaries prayer team. Find the monthly Prayer Partners publication on our website.
Without extraordinary prayer, disciple-making movements just won't happen.
On behalf of all of our missionaries, I'm asking, will you be part of our team? Will you join us in prayer for them? Will you ask God to open up amazing doors that we will have great fruit to report to you? And back to a world of masks.
That's right.
Your glasses are fogged, so.
Oh, glasses are fogged, yeah.
You're a natural at this. Yeah, you have to give Ben a few lessons.